Hello folks, this is Sula once again. Welcome to another video for Teamfight Tactics. This is taken from another double up game that I am playing with JDP AL Grillo. I don't know if you had enough time to see it there on the loading screen, but we are up against some pretty good teams in double up mode. Grillo has done well enough that whenever one of us queues with him for double up mode games, we now see quite a lot of people with the little orange badges, which is the highest official rating here in the two-player mode, in double up mode, which is supposed to get kind of like a real rating system. At some point, this is kind of like a placeholder system, but for right now, that's the highest that they have. And so I think there's like 5 or 6 different people in this game that are over 4,000 rating, which is quite high. When we first started playing double up mode, a lot of the games were very easy because some of the opponents that we were hitting just kind of didn't know what they were doing. Not so much the case anymore, particularly if we're grilling, or particularly if we're queuing with Grillo in these games. So this is going to be a little bit more challenging. All right, so the other thing that's going to define this game is the augment choice that we're all going to get here. So we'll be getting that augment in just a second. As a reminder, this is the two-player mode, which means that you share a life bar with the other player, and you have the ability to pass champions and items back and forth. You get a limited number of sends that can convert one of your items over to the other player. All right, so we're going to get our first augment, and it is a prismatic augment. So this is going to be a prismatic game. And I actually want all 3 of these. I have Future Sight, which lets me see who I'm going to be up against next and get the Radiant Zephyr. March of Progress, which is awesome to get for our first augment. And +1 team size. I was like, couldn't I just get like all 3 of these at different points in time throughout the game? Because they're all really good. But ultimately, I decide, you know what? I think being able to see who the next opponent is would be really good. And the Radiant Zephyr actually has one of the highest win rates out of any of the prismatic augments. Like this one is seen as being really, really good. So because not only do you get to see who you're up against, it also gives a Radiant Zephyr, which not only takes an enemy unit out of the fight for 8 seconds, it also gives everyone on your team 20% attack speed. So it's kind of like getting Clockwork 2 for free. Plus, you get to see who you're up against next. Plus, you get the opportunity to Zephyr an enemy unit out of the fight. And it's even better than the normal Zephyr, because I think the normal Zephyr is 6 seconds, and this one, I believe, is 8 seconds. So anyway, that's what I'm going to be going with here. And I actually, now the problem is my board. I don't really know what the heck I'm going to be doing with my board. I don't really have much here. I've just kind of got like random items. So I decided, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put the Radiant Zephyr on one of my units, but I'm also gonna make a Shroud of Stillness. Now, typically you don't make Shroud of Stillness in the early game. It tends to be more of a late game unit. Tends to be more of a late game item to make. But I'm thinking, you know what? If I know who I'm going to fight every single round for the entire game, what will give me more value than making Shroud of Stillness right away? It's not even a particularly bad item for a frontliner. Like, it's legitimately not that bad of a frontline item because it gives both armor and it gives dodge chance. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to be able to see who I'm up against every single round of the game. And I'm going to be able to Shroud and Zephyr the other teams. So I was like, this seems like it's going to be fun. But I have to be very, very on point with my positioning because that's basically all I'm kind of getting here. Remember, everyone has a prismatic augment, so everyone's going to be very, very strong with their augments. What I have is the like universal attack speed from having that Radiant Zephyr. I get the 20% attack speed for my whole board permanently, and I get the ability to see who I have next, so I can Shroud and Zephyr them. But this is not going to do that much on its own. I have to get the positioning right. I have to be really in tune on the Zephyr. All right, so that's going to be one of the big things in this game. It also, hopefully for me, the other players will not catch on. They will inevitably eventually catch on to the fact that I'm Zephyring them and that I'm shrouding them in these fights. So we'll just have to wait to see how long that lasts. Anyway, in this fight, I managed to shroud the entire team. So, that Shroud of Stillness perfectly placed, and I'm able to Zephyr out the Ezreal, who was the unit I wanted to target just because he had he was getting the scrap item over on that other team. By the way, Poppy kills one of the other units just in time for Kate to ult right through. That works out perfectly. So I'm going to be able to win this round against this person who's playing March of Progress. As far as my board, I don't really have much of anything at the moment. As I said, I have like a 2-star Poppy and then a random 2-star Caitlyn in the back row, and then I have a Blitz, and I made this random 2-star Alawi that I'm just playing because why not? But I don't really have a whole lot right now, and I'm not exactly sure what I want to play because my items are just kind of totally random here. Like I don't really have a whole lot. One thing that I did want to do though is I thought I wanted to go ahead and play into Yordles here. So I'm going to grab the Corky and then I'm going to pre-level, which does drop me all the way down to 0 gold, and that's not exactly what I want. But I did want to get Yordles in, so I'll look to play Corky when I level up. All right, so we got another round here. I'm scouting the player that I'm up against. Once again, I'm going to look to try to position. And what are we going to do? We're going to get another Shroud, and I'm going to Zephyr out that Corky, who is pretty much all the damage on the other team. So think that this positioning's gone pretty well thus far. I've been able to get my items where I want them, even though my actual board is not particularly strong, as long as I'm shrouding the enemy team and getting a good Zephyr target, I'm able to win some of these fights that I probably shouldn't win. And I'm like, oh, can I beat this person before their teammate comes in? Yes, fortunately. So that is also a good sign as well. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get over to Grillo's board fast enough to help him, so it looks like he lost that particular round. All right, well, this does mean that we're going to be last pick on the carousel, so we'll have to wait and see what other people are picking and decide where to go from there. My problem is, again, I don't really know what team I'm playing into here. I kind of have like a blank slate with no particular direction, so I was going to let myself be influenced to some extent by what I was getting from this round. I wouldn't have minded that glove because it was on a 3 gold Senna, because that could be potentially a Last Whisper. Out of these items, I was like, I don't really know what I want here. Grillo is going to be playing Innovators. He ends up playing a pretty standard Innovators board, so he's going to be able to get one of those champions. As a result, this is going to be one of the rare games where I do not take gold from this drop here. One of the options was a glove, and I decided I wanted the glove so that I could make Last Whisper and then also make use of this bow and build towards kind of an AD comp of some kind. So I see a Gangplank in the store. I want to get Yordles in, so I'm going to reconfigure my board here to try to get Yordles in. This is actually going to weaken my overall board strength, but it is going to get Yordle straight in. It's also going to get Twin Shot in between Gangplank and the Corky. And now I've got another second or two to try and keep reconfiguring my board here. So I'm going to have Ziggs hold the Zephyr because Ziggs I don't care about. He can go wherever. And then it's a matter of shifting around. So I see I'm going to be up against. Let's go over here. We've got the Shroud pointed at the right-hand side. We've got the Zephyr pointed at, the Ari. So yep, that is a positioning win. I'm going to Zephyr the Ari. And by the way, yes, they already have an Ari here on stage 2-5. This person also has 40 gold in the bank. So what the heck? Not exactly sure how they were able to do that, but okay. Oh, I see what it is. It's because they took Prismatic Treasure Trove to get their economy out to a good start. That's why they have so much money, and that's why they have the Ari. But I'm able to win the round anyway. Nowhere near as rich as that board, but at least I'm win streaking, and that's going to help. All right, so here I've got the choice between Tier, Rod, and 8 gold. So Grillo is going to take the gold, which you should pretty much always do. Me not taking the gold is less than ideal. But I did feel like I wanted to get that Last Whisper. Otherwise, I have double bows, and I can't really do much of anything with double bows. I didn't want to have like 2 bows just sitting on the bench, not doing anything. So I've got another round here. Of course, I know who I'm going to be up against. It is this board that's got a Warwick, and it looks like they're going to be playing Warwick reroll here. So I would very much like to beat this person. If there's an issue against this team comp, they have Prismatic Celestial for the healing. And they also have Warwick, who has innate healing as well. And I don't have a healing debuff, which is kind of a problem. So I'm going to do my best to position, get the Shroud in place, get the Zephyr on the Warwick. So, I mean, I've kind of gotten the positioning as well as I possibly can for this setup. Now, the question is, can we actually kill this team fast enough so that when Warwick comes down, we're able to kill the Warwick? So just need to kill that unit. I mean, this fight looks good so far. Poppy, I wish that Poppy was focusing the Warwick, but she does get the shield toss off. It's like, all right, we just need one more hit. And dodge, wait, dodge. It's like, oh no, the Warwick dodged 2 GP shots. Are you kidding me? And now he's healing. I was like, Poppy, can you kill him with your shield toss? No, really? Really, we're not going to kill this Warwick. He's back to full health again. I swear to God, he dodged 2 shots from Gangplank. That would have finished him off. So that's super sad because I would have had a full win streak. My win streak is interrupted, so that cost me quite a bit of gold. And this person, too real, now is on a win streak themselves. So that was a hugely significant round from an economic perspective. And sometimes it just comes down to RNG. The Warwick had a Quicksilver Sash, so he had, like, I think that gives you like 10% dodge chance. He dodged again, and even though he went down to like 5% health, we didn't finish him off. And then Celestial plus Rage Blade ramping enough to get him to heal, enough to get him to win the fight. So very, very sad. Honestly, if I had had 2-star Ziggs, I think I win that fight. It was that close, but well, just barely came up a little bit short. And then I decided to sell the Narcs. I want to get to 30 gold here. My econ is not exactly great because I passed up that chance to take the 8 gold. But I do have Yordle income coming my way, so that's not too bad. Hopefully I'll be able to hit the 2-star Corki, and maybe with any luck, I'll hit 2-star Gangplank. So I'm just kind of playing through the Gangplank right now. I still don't really know what I'm going to be playing long-term here. I'm just playing through the units I have right now. I was thinking, maybe it's like a scrap game. Maybe I can find like an early Jinx or something like that. And like that wouldn't be bad because I'm kind of playing through the scrap trait, but we're just gonna have to do the best we can. And right here at the last second, I'm gonna reposition. I've got the Shroud pointed at most of the team. What's the most dangerous unit here? It's the Kassadin, who has the Warmogs. The rest of this team, not very tanky. So if I can just bypass the Kassadin, I kill all the squishy units, and by the time Kassadin comes back down, the fight's already over. And look at that, GP farming me a gold coin. So I've got Yordles in for income, and I've got GP in, who hopefully will make me a little bit of extra money. And hey, that gets me up to 40 gold. Not bad. So I'm going to go over to Grillo's board, but it looks like it's okay. If there was one bit of good news, it's that the Warwick comp just lost. Grillo was actually up against that person, and they just lost. So that is a good sign. All right, so what do we have next? I could go to level 6 here, but what would I put in? Don't really have anything to put in. I guess I could put in Brand for Arcanist, but I mean, do I really want to level just to put in a 1-star, 1-cost Brand? I think it's okay just to hold here. I'm not on a win streak. If I was win streaking, I would level, but I'm not. So yeah, I'm still kind of doing this with smoke and mirrors. Like, I don't really have much of anything, but I'm going to continue trying to just rely on Shroud and Zephyr, and just continue kind of BSing my way through these fights with Shroud and Zephyr. Once again, we're going to get the key unit out of the fight. We're going to hit that Corki. And this person, by the way, appears to be playing just straight Yordles. Like, they've got quite a few of them already, and it looks like they're just going, full 6 Yordles, not running them for econ the way people normally do. So I'm going to beat this team, but in comes their partner. And oh, look at this. It's the Warwick again. I'm like, oh, really? The Warwick is here again? And this Warwick is going to ramp up. And I don't think we have quite enough to finish this unit off, even with Grillo coming in as well. So I kill everything on the other team's board, but I can't stop that Warwick, unfortunately. So that's kind of annoying. Well, we got another Prismatic Augment, and I really just wish I had the choices from the first round over again. I'd love +1 team size. I would love well, I don't think I'd take March of Progress now. I don't even know if it can be offered. I think it can only be offered for the first one. So out of these choices, I take Cybernetic Uplink. This is a very good augment as well. Don't get me wrong. I think I'd rather just have +1 team size though. So what this one does is it grants everyone who holds an item additional health and additional mana per second. So it gives you an incentive to spread out your items. And since I'm playing Scrap, that actually does make a lot of sense to do that. So now everybody has an item except Senna. I can do this because most of these units are going to get replaced. So that will give them both additional health and additional mana generation, because this is the Cybernetic Uplink version of the Prismatic Augment. Now, the funny thing is, guess what augment Grillo took for his second choice? Yeah, he also took Future Sight. So now we both have Future Sight 2. He has Future Sight 2, and I have Future Sight 2. So we can both see who our opponent is going to be every single round, which is very handy right now, although it won't be quite as good in the long run. Once you get down to the last couple opponents, it tends not to be as strong, and then you're just kind of relying on having the Radiant Zephyr, with people being more able to reposition around at the ending stages of the game. I get off another great Shroud, though. I hit the entire team. So this, again, the value of this Shroud of Stillness, the early Shroud, not something you typically make, but has been really, really good. I mean, I've been winning fights that I probably shouldn't win. My board is nothing special, but I've been win streaking pretty hard here. Just lost the 2 rounds, and we've been able to preserve an awful lot of health that way. One of the things that teams often do in these double-up games is they try to loss streak deliberately. And that does make it more likely that you're going to win the lobby, but it also makes it a lot more likely you're going to go fourth. We tend to end up with a lot of second places in our games because you generally have a lot of health. Like, we preserve health really well in these battles over the course of the game. But 2 or 3 other teams will be running mercenary loss streaks, and like one of them is going to cash out and become super strong, and then like the other teams go 3rd and 4th. So it's just more consistent in the long run to be strong throughout the game and just accept sometimes people are going to hit and you're not going to be able to sometimes people are just going to hit and you're not going to be able to win the lobby, but if you have a lot of health, you have good odds to at least get 2nd place, and you can still sometimes win anyway. It's hard to beat people that have run like these very high risk strategies and then ultimately cash out. All right. Anyway, so right now I took the glove off the carousel because I saw that could be a Quicksilver Sash. This can be used on a future Aurelia, potentially. Obviously, it could also be used on another carry like a Jinx or like a Jhin. It's quite a good item on Jhin as well. And like, sure enough, here's a team that's mercenary loss streaking, and it's going to be tough for them not to cash out at some point in time in this game. So, as I said, high risk, high reward strategies. Again, my positioning is basically perfect here because I get the Misfortune, who's the itemized unit. Zephyr her out of the fight, and I get a Shroud that hits the whole team. But I'm still kind of doing this with smoke and mirrors. I'm not sure that this is going to hold up for the entire game. I will have to make an actual team comp at some point in time. Like, I don't even have 2-star Gangplank. What do I have that's actually 2-starred? Poppy and Ziggs. I don't even have a 2-star Corki at this point in time. So I was like, all right, well, I am pretty rich thanks to this Yordle income and from win streaking. So I'll toss in the Morgana. I guess that makes Enchanter with Senna. I can't imagine that that's really all that useful, but it's better than anything else I could play right now. It's like that or a Leona for 3 bodyguards. So, okay, why not? We'll just run this for the time being. Sooner or later, though, I will have to make actual units, and I will have to put a real team comp together. So, looks like I'm going to be up against, which comp is this? This is the Warwick comp, I think? And yes, so I'm going to Zephyr out the Warwick. You know, I'm still getting the positioning correct. I was like, but can I ever kill this unit when he comes back down? He has very good Warwick items, the Shiv, the Rage Blade, and the Quicksilver Sash. So kind of our only hope is that his Quicksilver Sash times out, and then we can CC the Warwick. There we go. So that actually did turn out to work out well. So we're going to be able to win that round. And hey, I'll take it. I will take that. By the way, that person has Verdant Veil, so it looks like the Quicksilver Sash not really needed since that person has protection against crowd control. But obviously they didn't know that. They made the Quicksilver Sash before they knew they were going to get that item. All right, well, pretty good stage 2, pretty good stage 3. We've been able to preserve a ton of health, and hopefully I'll be able to make some kind of actual team comp sooner or later. I'm just trying to econ here as best I can and then look for better units. As I said, I think I'm playing into scrap of some kind. So I think I'm going to be playing into maybe, like I said, ideally Jinx, but maybe Aurelia. I do have good Aurelia items. Like, these are not bad at all. Quicksilver, Last Whisper. If I can get either a Bloodthirster or an Infinity Edge for the last item would be pretty good. And I kind of have the components for that. Now I just got a sword, so that's pretty good too. Could definitely be an item that goes on an Aurelia if I can find one. So for the time being, I'm playing through GP. We still have a whole bunch of sends left over. Like, both me and Grillo have a whole bunch of sends, so we have not used them yet. We have that option to send champions back and forth. So he is looking for innovators. So Seraphine and Jace are the big units that he most wants. I said I was looking for Jinx was my top unit, but also Aurelia was a possibility as well. All right, this person is playing Misfortune on the Spotlight, so I was like, all right, I need to, even if that means giving up the Spotlight, I have to do this. Not like the Spotlight's that important for me, so I'm going to have to Zephyr out that Misfortune. This person's on a big loss streak, so I really don't want to cash this team out, but I'm not sure if I'm going to have much of a choice here. My board is just not that strong, unfortunately, because like if I had the 2-star Gangplank, that might be a difference, but still only 1 star. And yeah, that Misfortune, I believe there's Socialite 3 on, yeah, Socialite 3, so she's going to keep healing off of the damage dealt. And I was like, I just don't have the damage to kill this unit, unfortunately. So I think I'm going to cash out this person who's on a 7-match losing streak, which I really don't want to do, but Grillo was not able to come over and help. He lost his round, and I just do not have the ability to stop this person. So, that comp just got very strong, and there wasn't much I could do about it. Like I said, just didn't have it in place. And so that person's going to be strong. And then their partner is also on a big losing streak. Yeah, you can see all the stuff that they're getting. They just picked up a whole bunch of items. They got like 3 or 4 completed items there. So that is not a good sign. But that team's on 25 HP. So even though they cashed out the big loss streak and now they're going to be very strong, they can't afford to lose much in the way of rounds either. Or I guess they're actually on Socialite 5. What the heck? So for this round, I'm up against the Yordle player. And this is one of the first times that someone shifts their unit at the last second. I still get off a great Shroud. That doesn't change. But I wasn't able to get the Corki. I think that they shifted their Corki at the last second. So people are starting to catch on to my tricks. I'm a little surprised that people didn't start doing this earlier. And outside of my Shroud and my Zephyr, what do I really have? I've got a 1-star Gangplank. Don't think that's going to cut it. I think I need to move into better units here. So I decide I'll start rolling here, even though this is not even though this is an off level to level, I kind of had enough money to do so. So I'm going to keep looking here. I do manage to hit 2-star GP, so that's going to make me a little bit stronger. I think I hold here until after the minion round, and then or not the minion round, until after the carousel, and then I toss in Malzahar because why the heck not? So yeah, I definitely got a little bit stronger there. I made the 2-star GP. I got Arcanist trait in. I 2-starred the Senna. But like my board is not terrible, but you got to remember this is double up mode, so the boards are always stronger in double up mode. Still, I was able to get that Ari out of the way. Hopefully, Gangplank will be able to carry for me here. But I'm still really lacking in damage. Like I've got Gangplank is like my carry, and I mean he's okay. Like now that he's 2-starred, it's like more passable, and he is farming gold for me here. So I mean I'll take that 2 gold that he farmed for me. But this is still not going to work long term. I need to move into Aurelia or Jinx or some kind of other better carry than what we have right here. On this carousel, I certainly would not mind the Victor with another glove because I could turn that into Infinity Edge, which I would love to be like a third Aurelia item. Can't imagine that I'm actually going to get a Victor who's holding a glove. Like someone is pretty clearly going to want that. So I believe that gets taken here, yeah. And out of these other options left over, I was like, well, I think I'm going to take the sword because I can always make Giant Slayer with that, or I could make a Deathblade. And I think that either one of them would not be that bad because I'm looking to itemize some kind of AD carry based on the items that I have here. All right, so we got to keep rolling here. I guess I go ahead and make the Giant Slayer for right now. All right, so again, looking for high cost AD units. There's a Braum. That's got to be better than Poppy. I randomly hit 2-star Mauls, so I guess I can play that for right now. And I'm trying to pick up scrap units. There's a 2-star Echo, so that's got to be better than something. I think it's finally time to start moving out of the Yordle, so I'm going to look to do that here. I still have to keep Corki in place because I need Twin Shot for GP. And I'm going to look to reposition here. So here's another person who's on a big loss streak. But the positioning, I'm going to get the Misfortune, and I get off another nice Shroud. Now the Tom Kench over there is a concern, but guess what? Gangplank's got a quick Silver Sash, so he can't be eaten by the Tom Kench. And between that and the Shroud, this team kind of falls apart. So remember how that person, I cashed out that person who was on the big loss streak? Well, I did cash them out, but guess what? They're on 1 HP now, so they're not going to win this lobby. Like, they're basically dead men walking. All right, now we've got one final augment, and why do I have to get level up now? No one wants level up for the last one, so I'm basically between Blue Battery and Radiant Relics, and I have to think that Blue Buff is better, giving everyone on the team the extra mana after each time they cast. That's got to be better than one Radiant item. The Radiant items are very strong, but I feel like they're at their strongest early in the game when you have like 3 units and you can put a superpower item on 1 unit. I don't feel like they're that good at the end of the game, or at least I feel like they're a weaker option. So triple Prismatic lobby. Once you get Prismatic for the first 2, you're actually guaranteed to get Prismatic for the third one. So that definitely was not quite what I was looking for. And again, I wish that I had been able to get these in a slightly different order. Like I really wish I could have taken March of Progress for the first one, Cybernetic for the second one, and then Future Sight for the third one, or just a +1 team size. Like imagine if I had +1 team size instead of Blue Battery, how much stronger I would be. So that's the downside to these prismatic lobbies. So much of the outcome of the game gets tied up into the outcome of the prismatic things that you get, or the augments that you get. So I don't have bad augments. Like I wouldn't say these are bad by any means. Like Future Sight's been amazing. I can't be wrong with that. And Cybernetic Uplink is really good as well. But the Blue Battery is a little bit disappointing. That's not what I wanted. And I just don't have enough damage in my comp right now. Like I can't stop the Warwick from, like I can Zephyr the Warwick. I actually Zephyr perfectly, but it doesn't end up mattering. And this team, Grillo actually cashes out this team that has like a 10-match losing streak. But it doesn't matter because they're out of the gate. They just die. So, okay. That is the danger of that. And I really don't suggest having both players run mercenary loss streaks, which is what that team was doing. I think it's okay to have one of the 2 players run the big loss streak, but you really don't want both players running big loss streaks. Because you see what happens. They just run out of health way too quickly. So it's going to be a 3-way race now between the other teams. We got a couple different teams. We got like the Warwick rerolling team. That's the one that's win streaking right now. And the one that I just lost to in the last round, and a couple of different things here. I'm trying to remember what some of the other boards are and can't. All right, so once again, I've got a roll here. I really need to look to find some kind of carry. I need to find, especially Aurelia or Jinx. Those are the ones I really want. The Galio is also a possibility. I am playing bodyguards here, so that wouldn't be bad either. Like, all right, I find a Jace, and this is not for me, although it wouldn't be bad playing Jace with the items I have. This is what I have to send over to Grillo. He needs a Jace, so I'm going to get that for him. And by the way, his last augment was Innovator Soul, so +2 Innovators. So he's going to be able to play the Dragon. And oh, there's a Jinx. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. I also found one Aurelia. So now I can move into Aurelia plus Jinx. This board I was not positioning for, but guess what? I actually get a great Shroud, and I Zephyr out there 2-star Zeri. So I was like, okay, that's pretty good. Now, the bad news is even with perfect positioning, I'm still not going to be able to beat this board because, I mean, they've got a 2-star Jin, and they've got a Jace, and they've got a 2-star Zeri, and, I mean, I've got, like, a Gangplank. It's not going to work. So even though the positioning is great, at least that stopped me from getting completely destroyed. All right, and I also find a 2-star Seraphine, so I'm going to send that to Grillo as well. So I was able to get him a Jace and a 2-star Seraphine. Now I need to focus on making my own board, and I'm going to look to play into some of these units. So we're going to put in the Aurelia as soon as I can. I'm going to look to itemize the Jinx. I also want to get the Aurelia in. So what can I take out? The Mauls I can take out. I can also take out the Quirky. That's not needed anymore. So I think I figured that out pretty quickly. I wouldn't mind getting the Galio in. There we go. So we're going to get Galio in for 2 Spotlight, 2 Socialite Spotlight, and the and 2 Bodyguard. And now I'm looking to itemize here. I'm going to put the Giants. Oh, actually, I was going to put that item on Jinx. I think she rolled a scrap item at the last second, so I wasn't able to finish putting items on her. And then I want to itemize Aurelia. I'm up against the Yordle's player. Really good Galio ult. The problem is I still got 1-star Jinx. I've got 1-star Galio, and that's not going to be strong enough right now. So yeah, we were doing well earlier. Now we need to look to get to level 9 and try to 2-star some of these. So all right, we're going to put the whatchamacallit? We're going to put the Quicksilver Sash on Aurelia. I'm going to want to make a Frozen Heart on Galio. Remember, I want to spread out my items to some extent because by spreading out the items, that allows me to get the cybernetic value on each of them. So I'm going to roll here. I want a 2-star, at least Aurelia, if at all possible. And not quite hitting. I do hit 2 out of 3 Jinxes, though, so that's a pretty good sign. And I've got this leftover. Oh, I forget to put the Radiant Zephyr on one of my units. I do that in the next round, but I actually whiff this round. And I actually get good Shroud value, but I don't hit much of anything else. So I was like, oh, whoops. That was a bit of a mistake. And I also have 3 Bodyguard in, which is kind of weird. I have 4 Scrap in, but I think maybe I could have played something a little bit better. Maybe I could have looked to play 3 Socialite instead. Like maybe I could have put in another Socialite to get 3 in there. So I was going to lose this round, but fortunately Grillo is able to come over and save me because he now has 2-star Jace, and that's pretty good. His board is definitely better than mine right now. He has 2-star Jace, and he's got Innovator 7 in, so he has the Dragon. I have not been able to show his board very much because I've been focusing on tinkering with mine, and I have to do so much positioning. I haven't been able to focus too much on his setup. Anyway, there's a Jinx on Carousel, so I have to take that. That's 2-star Jinx. Hurricane, not exactly the item I'm looking for, but I have to pick that up because that's going to make, as I said, 2-star Jinx. With Giant Slayer, Last Whisper, Hurricane. Not bad by any means, but certainly not best in slot Jinx item. Ideally, you'd want to have something like some kind of healing is really good on her. So like Bloodthirster or Hand of Justice is pretty good. And then alternately, in addition to that, it would also be better to have like a Rage Blade than the Hurricane. Hurricane's not terrible, but it's not really what you're looking for. So these are good items, but they're definitely not best in slot or anything like that. And now I'm going to look to go to level 9 so I can play another unit. All right, so it looks like I'm up against, what is this? I've got, is it Warwick reroll again? I think I have. So this time I decided that I would place the Zephyr on the Victor. I think that was a mistake. I think I needed to Zephyr the Warwick. I think that's the key unit on this type team. That's the 3-star unit. So probably a mistake misplacing that item. Taking Warwick out of the fight is the most important unit. And this fight's not really very close. I can't even survive long enough for Grillo to come over and help me. So that's a bit disappointing there. And I don't feel like my board is very strong. Like, I think I've made a board that's okay, but like this is not great. I'm playing through Socialite even though it's not really doing that much. I probably should just move out of these units and play better stuff. I really should have another Twin Shot in. This is a mistake I make over and over again. I always forget that I need Twin Shot in for Jinx. It ramps up her damage by a ton, but I'm really playing through the Jinx, so she's the one who should be... she's the one who should have a Twin Shot unit in, and I just never even thought of that throughout this game. I always forget that that's her other trait. She's got Rival, the special trait. She's got Scrap. I always remember that, but I always forget that her last trait is Twin Shot. and that it actually ramps up her damage a lot to get that. Anyway, Galio's doing a lot of work in these fights, but not enough, unfortunately. So like Jinx parachutes in, but the whole team is dead by the time she comes in. So as I said, I just didn't feel like I was very strong in these fights. Grillo's actually holding up his side of the bargain quite well, but I am not doing especially well. So I need to think about what my last unit in. I was thinking 3 Socialite, but I really, in retrospect, I don't think that was the right choice. I really don't need another Socialite, because like, what is Aurelia doing in these fights? Not much. She's not even my main carry. I should have been looking to itemize Jinx, and maybe I could, keep Aurelia in the comp, but maybe play like what's another twin shot? Play like Lucian for twin shot, and I don't know, ditch Senna because I don't really need Senna, and maybe look to bring in like, I don't know, random legendary unit of some kind. We'll just depend on, just see what you hit at higher levels. Anyway, so I do manage to get a Sunfire Cape. That is a good pickup because I did not have any anti-heal in my comp. Grillo had not used a send up to this point. He had an Aurelia, so he sends that to me for 2-star Aurelia. So that's definitely going to help out. By the way, this other team, the one that's playing the Yordles, I haven't seen them a whole lot, but like they have 2-star Vhagar on their team already, so that's getting to be a little bit scary. Like I can keep trying to Zephyr stuff out on this other team. I know that I'm going to be up against them, but you can see that the value of the Shroud, well, the Shroud actually still has insane value, but the value of the Radiant Zephyr has fallen off because everyone is now well aware that I have this thing, and they're moving to dodge it. In fact, both Grillo and me have this, so like everybody is looking to dodge this thing constantly. Jinx gets in the back lines, but she has no lifesteal, so she just kind of dies pretty quickly. And the 3-star Corki is going to carry that fight. And you can see, like I said, I haven't won a round in a while. I'm just kind of bleeding out health here. And it's not looking so great for our team comp. Here I'm, Grillo's asking me what item I want. So I'm going to get another item. I'm trying to remember, what did I pick up here? Something I think for, Quicksilver. I decided to put this on Galio because that will actually make it so, oh, well, never mind. And we're going to make a 2-star Galio here. In retrospect, that was probably the wrong unit to put it on because he is a Colossus, so he's naturally CC immune anyway. But for some reason, I wasn't thinking about that. Probably should have just taken another item. So I don't have time to roll and go to level 9 here. We needed to spend the time picking the item and then sending a Galio over to Grillo's side. He had 2 Galios, I had 1, so I sent him by 1. It became a 2-star, and then he sent it back with the same items. One of the fun little things you can do here. I know I'm up against someone who's playing on the Socialite tile. Oh, I'm up against the Warwick comp again. So this time I correctly Zephyr the Warwick. That's the dangerous unit here. Get off another good Shroud. So if we can manage to take out the Tryndamere and get off a good ult here. One nice thing about the Warwick is he does not have a Quicksilver Sash. So he is not immune to CC. And hey, look at this. Now that we have 2-star Galio, suddenly we're a little bit stronger again. Now we're actually maybe able to win some of these rounds. Not good enough to help Grillo, who's up against his team on 1 HP that's win streaking. Just needs someone to get 1 victory against that team and knock them out. But unfortunately, they seem to be the strongest comp in the lobby right now. So that's a little bit of a troubling sign. All right, so it's time to roll. I'm just trying to pick up legendary units here and see what I can play. Pick up the Soko. I should have just picked up the Victors because I would have random my way into Victor 2-star. So I've got that. There's another Jace here, but remember we already hit Jace 2-star. So I was like, I guess I'll just play the Soko for now. It's not Tahm Kench. There's no need to have that. But Soko accelerating Jinx going off actually would not be bad. I actually think that that's probably the best unit I can play here, especially if I can 2-star it. We do still have 1 send remaining too. So I'm going to try to position here. I don't think that this is the unit I want, but I don't have quite enough time to get everything set up. And again, people are dodging the Radiant Zephyr and the Shroud right now. So I actually get shrouded there. This other team got a Shroud, I think, out of that round. So that's not great. I mean, I get an amazing Galio ult. So I was like, oh, can I beat this team? Remember, this team's on 1 HP. If I can beat them, then they're out of the game. But, oh, their partner's going to come in and, oh, yeah, that other board's looking pretty strong. Guess what? That other board's got 3-star Jhin and 3-star Vi. It's like, ooh. So even though I was about to beat the initial player and Grillo won his round and comes over to help, we can't beat 3-star Vi and 3-star Jhin. And that is, again, kind of an issue. That's the board we have to beat. If we can beat them 1 time, they're out of the game. Sadly, though, it looks like they're going to get a Zephyr, which would have been super nice. And we could, like, Zephyr out the Jhin and Zephyr out the Vi, or vice versa, then that might be enough. All right, here I decided I'd take the Bramble Vest. Grillo's going to take the Chalice. So it's getting down to the nitty gritty. We're on 5 HP, a team's on 3 HP, and then that team's been win streaking on 1 HP. And then there's another Victor. I was like, I wish I picked up those Victors. Look at all the Victors I'm getting. I could just play random Victor 2-star. I mean, it's not going to fit the comp, but it's probably better than the alternatives. So I'm not going to hit the Silco 2-star here, which is probably the best random legendary I can play. And then I see a Seraphine, and I opt to play this, but I think in retrospect, this was a big mistake. 3 Socialite was not doing anything for me. I should have kept the Silco in. I think that would have been a much better unit to play because it caused Jinx to go off faster. So I'm going to reposition here. At this point, I'm kind of repositioning blindly to some extent. And I'm up against the Jhin 3-star, the Vi 3-star. Unfortunately, they repositioned Jhin at the last second. Jhin also has a Quicksilver, or not Quicksilver. There's a Trap Claw on their Jace. So instead of the Galio crashing in and knocking that team up into the air, that Trap Claw protects the Jhin. And it's 3-star Jhin, 3-star Vi with 3-star Jhin, 3-star Vi with a 2-star Jace to accelerate gate him. So it's not looking great against that team. Maybe, though, we got a shot here. So now there's 3 teams at 1 HP in the lobby. I was like, oh, man, this is really close. So who am I up against? I'm up against Warwick Tryndamere. Okay. So, wow, I've sure seen this Warwick Tryndamere team a lot. So if I can beat this player, then I will eliminate them because they're on 1 HP as well. And at least we would get maybe a second. So I was like, all right. Can I hit this? Can I get this Warwick? And I missed the Warwick. I get the Tryndamere, though. That's not so bad. And I am going to hook the Victor. So I've gotten most of the team. I guess they have Verdant Veil, so it can't get hooked. So Galio's going to crash in. Nobody gets knocked up. But, I got the Warwick. This team comp does fall off on the scaling as the team goes on. So it looks like I'm going to win this round. All right, now can I get over to help Grillo? He is up against this team that's got the Vi and the Jhin. Oh, we actually killed the Jhin. We killed the 3-star Jhin. All that's left is the Vi. Come on. Can we get this Vi? Can we finish off the Vi? If we kill the Vi, we win the game, but not quite. We come up 1 unit short. So, what a close lobby. What a good game. So we are going to finish in second. Double knockout on the last round. And that other team is going to end up winning. We just couldn't overcome the 3-star Jhin and the 3-star Vi. If it had been one or the other, I'm pretty sure we win the lobby because Grillo had a really strong board. Again, I was fiddling with my team so much I wasn't able to show his board. Apologies for that. Wish we had actual replays for Teamfight Tactics and not just pre-recorded footage. Long-standing gripe there. So his board was super strong. He had 7 innovators. You can see his team comp here. Had a pretty strong 2-star Jace. But ultimately, we just couldn't overcome the Jhin and the Vi. Just way too strong. Couldn't manage to deal with that. I mean, they deserved to win with that board, but we came close. We got down to 1 unit left. So just a little bit better fight RNG. If we'd been able to hit one of our Radiant Zephyrs at the end of the game, maybe. But I mean, I think we'll take second because this was a pretty tough lobby. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this content. Thanks for watching. Until next time, see you guys soon.